Hello everyone and welcome once again to my channel. In this video, I'll be introducing us to Cosmos DB. So we are going to be starting a series on Cosmos DB. So Cosmos DB is a database. When we speak about databases, people know of MySQL, they know SQL Server, they know Oracle, they know MariaDB and the likes, but Cosmos DB is not something that is so popular as it were, especially for people that are coming from the on-prem data center environment. And that's because it is a cloud database. I'll just be highlighting just some core things that make it different, some core features of Cosmos DB that are very obvious and makes it unique from the databases that you are probably aware of. But let me share my screen. I always love to have my screen shared while I'm speaking. So Cosmos DB. So I already created so let me just go over here. Before I continue my explanation. Yeah, so we have Cosmos DB here, and we have what I will be walking you through on, but I just want you to see the interface of creating a new database for NoSQL. So if I want to create one, you can see the different categories of services that we have for Cosmos DB. So this is the interface. Very interesting, right? So as I said earlier on, the most obvious thing is that Cosmos DB is a cloud database. So unlike the likes of MySQL, Oracle, and the likes that don't necessarily have to be on the cloud. As a matter of fact, that line it's even blurry now because you can have a fully managed MySQL or SQL Server database. You can have your SQL database that is on the cloud also. So in a way, you can also call that a cloud database, but this is native to the cloud. So another core thing about this kind of database is that it is distributed. So when we say a database is distributed, it means that by default, your data is spread across several locations, and it improves performance. It makes it more suitable for storing. I mean, if you have people playing games on the internet and they are playing games from different locations, someone from Africa, someone from Asia, someone from different parts of the world, a database such as Cosmos DB will make more sense than many of the conventional databases that we have. Another core thing I want to highlight is that it uses you are going to be seeing a lot of JSON based queries. So you'll be seeing a lot of property value pairs. That's also something that makes it unique also. It's not, you don't see that natively to many of the conventional databases that we have. So that's something that is quite unique about it. There are so many others. It has an API, Cosmos DB API, that you call and it provides responses. There are a lot. So this, off the top of my head, those are just some obvious uniqueness to the database. As usual, I don't like to talk too much, so let's just go straight to how we can make use of Cosmos DB in Microsoft Azure. So I already created, so after going through all this, filling what you need to fill, you give it a name, a resource group, give your account a name, you choose if you want to utilize availability zone, choose a location, capacity mode, either serverless or provisioned throughput. We already spoke about serverless. So serverless is talking about function-based apps and using containers. Then you look if you want to apply free tier discount. So you can only apply free tier discount to only one Cosmos DB account. I already did it for the one that we are going to be using. That's why it's disabled over here. Then limit total account throughput and the like. So you have so many options. So let me close this and let's go to what we have. So I already created a Cosmos DB account over here on Azure. So let's start to work. So I'll go to Data Explorer. So the way the structure is that you have a database. So inside a Cosmos DB account that was created, you create a database. Then inside that database, you create a container. So I only have an account here. I do not have a database. So now let me click to create a container and it will ask me for a database. So now we have, I'm being asked to choose a database ID. So I already have all that in a notepad, what I'll be using. So that we wouldn't waste time, I wouldn't waste time typing. I'll just be copying and pasting them. So my database ID, that's what I'm choosing. Share throughput across the container, that's fine. Then auto scale, that's fine. Should I auto scale? No, let me use manual. And 400, that's the minimum. So request units is just more like the CPU and the memory that you'll be using. So this is the unit that is very specific to Cosmos DB. So the container name, I also have the container name. So I'll be working with a citizen container. So this database will be around, I love to work with NIN data a lot. So that's also what we'll be looking at. So citizen, so a Nigerian citizen, think about the kind of data that will be of interest when having a kind of identity management platform for a citizen of a country. So our partition key. So I want to use the NIN as the partition key. So the NIN number, NIN stands for National Identity Number, National Identification Number or something like that. It's like the ID card for everyone in Nigeria. Okay, so unique keys, we don't need to do that now. So one good thing about Azure is that if you are not sure about what something means, you can just over here and you see what it really means. So the partition key, before I forget, is the same as how we use partition key and row key in what was our previous video on partition key and row key. Okay, in storage accounts. How we use partition key and row key in storage account. So it's just something that we use to differentiate a property that we use to differentiate different values within different fields within our database. Yeah, so that's all we are obligated to do. I think we can click on OK now. So we are going to be having a series on this and we'll be taking it step by step. You'll be seeing what each of these options that we have over here really mean. And we are also going to be working from Microsoft Azure. So many of the things that I'm doing here, we are going to be doing them from, did I say Microsoft Azure? Visual Studio rather. Yeah, so over here you can see under data, our database is created, and I call the data, our database ID is DB-Frankly Ayo. Then inside our database, we have our container. The name of our container is citizen. Then inside our container, we can add items. So if I should click on items, it will tell me that it is empty. So there's nothing here. So now we want to create a new item. How do we do that? Remember, we are working with a citizen data set. So we want to add an item to a citizen container. So all I need to do is to click on new container, new item rather. Then this is now what we are going to replace with what we want to work with. Remember, I said that there is a Cosmos DB API, and I spoke about how it uses a property value pairs in terms of communicating with that API. That's why we have this. It's similar to what we have with JSON. It's uses JSON format. So what I will just do is I already have data set prepared because of our time, and we'll see how we can work with them very quickly. So I will just paste what we have here. So I already specified that our partition key is the NIN. So by supplying NIN as a property here with this value, it will automatically capture this property as the partition key. And we also have full name here, which is another property also, and this is the value Ahmed Bola. So I'll be saving this, so I'll be executing it. And it's a NoSQL database, so it's not structured, it's not your conventional it's not your conventional relational database. So after sending those two values, we can see that we have more properties that were created for us by the Cosmos API. There's an ID, there's an RID, there's self, and the likes. So which is good. So right now we have an item, but let's create more items. So let me click on new item. So let's add probably like one more. Let's add one more. And this time around, we are going to be adding education to what we have. We are going to be adding education. So let's add this. Yeah, so let's save. Yeah, so this is also added. So I think we should even add one last one so that at least we should have like up to 3. Now when we are fetching our data, we would be able to have good data sets returned to us. Yeah, so you can see we have 3. So I didn't even explain the data. So as usual, this is our NIN number. This is the third one, the third value, 0003. And we have a full name here, another name. We have education, so level, primary, the name of the school, and the grade. So this BC Lola went to a primary school, also went to a secondary school. And we also have other values that were created for us. And over here, we have Buhari Musa, and we only have data for his primary school. We do not have data for his high school and his college education. And we have the values that were created for us, ID, RD, RID, and the likes. So we have 3 items in our container, and that container is called citizen, and that container is inside a database called db-frankly.io. I believe all that is clear so far. So now, how can we retrieve data from our um from our Cosmos DB? So let's see. Let's look for new SQL query. Yeah, new SQL query is what we are using. So we can use we can say c dot select all from C is the name of our container. Then what we can do is we can say c dot what's the name? We can pick any of the properties. So let me pick should I pick N9? Let's see. Let's do c dot N9. So let's say we want to view everything, all the N9, so that we can execute query. Yeah, so you can see all the N9 001, 002, 003. So let's say instead of N9, let's say full name. Full name. Let's see what we will have. Execute query. And we have all the full names. Ahmed Bola, Buhari, and BC Lola. You can see the result here. So I believe what we've done so far is pretty clear. This is just, I just wanted us to have a feel on how we can do get our hands dirty on the Azure portal. We are going to be going to Visual Studio very soon, and we'll see how we can do some of these things via Visual Studio. But before we do that, I will be let me just delete what I have here, because I do not want to be creating a new data set. So I can delete database from here, confirm by typing database ID. What is my reason? Nothing really, just training purposes. Yeah, so this is good. Yeah, we are fine. We can delete everything. Yeah, so always remember, as I said, Cosmos DB is a database, just the same way we have our SQL Server database, but it's unique to Microsoft and it prioritizes performance and security over things like privacy and so many other factors that you may want to consider when um, evaluating databases. It's pretty fast, like really, really fast. It's quite impressive, like really, really impressive. It's easy to learn. It works very well with Visual Studio. It's great. It's something that you should know if you want to be a cloud engineer. Something you should be familiar with. So let me stop sharing. I'll be going to Visual Studio now. So let me stop sharing. And now I'll be sharing my Visual Studio. So because of our time, I already, let me share. Yeah, so this is the simple code that we are going to use to create. So the plan is this simple project, this simple code is for us to create a database on Azure. We are creating a database remotely, and we are also creating a container within that database. So this project assumes project assumes that you already have a Cosmos DB account created, and you also already have an Azure account created. So you'll need to specify your connection string. This is not the right approach. If you want to work with connection string, I have showed you in previous videos how to go about it. You can use Azure Key Vault. Visual Studio also have native support for handling um, secret keys and credentials like connection string that will store it within, it will handle it within it will handle it locally in my host machine securely rather than having it as part of my code. Then you need to specify your database name also. All these are things that shouldn't be here. Then your container name also. This was what I chose earlier on. Then partition key. So this time around, I'm using full name as a partition key. Previously, I used the NIN, but you just need to use something that would differentiate a particular item from another item. Then, as usual, we need to create a client, and we are using the Cosmos client, which is from the package microsoft.azure.cosmos. And I brought this in using Nugget package. And we declare an object, and we use that object um, to define our database name. Yeah, and we are using await, then say database created, and we do the same for the container. But instead of using um just the Cosmos client, we are calling a method, and we are calling the get database method, and we are also specifying the partition key along with it. So this is a very simple program. This video is already taking quite a lot of minutes. So I'll be running it now. But before I do, I just want to also see that for now, we don't have any database, so that when we refresh, we'll see that our program is really working. Okay, I believe you can see my screen. So you can see that once I click on Data Explorer, let me click on Data Explorer. Once I click on Data Explorer, there's no database here. There's no database. So you can see the option. It wants me to create a new container, a new database. If you come here, there's nothing. There's no database. So there's no database here. So what I will do is I would stop sharing, and I will share my Visual Studio. I believe you can see my screen. So I hope you know where I got this connection string from. It's from the portal. You're going to see where to access keys. The same way we've been using connection string in our storage account series. So I'll be running this program, and I would be sharing the output screen. Yeah, so this is the output screen. You can see database created, container created. So I'll stop sharing, then we'll go to our Azure portal, and we'll see if it is reflected over there. Yeah, so I'm going to refresh. So I can just come over here to refresh this tree. You can see presently it is empty. So what I will do is I will refresh the tree, and now you can see the database has appeared. And we have our container also, citizen. So this simple video, I just wanted us to have an understanding on what makes Cosmos DB unique. And also, I also wanted us to see how we can work with Cosmos DB from the Azure portal in very basic terms, and also a little practical on how we can remotely create a database and create what's it called, a container from Visual Studio to Azure portal. If you find this video informative, don't forget um to like the video, share it, and comment. Ask me questions. I look forward to getting your reviews. Have a nice